Hello my YouTube friends and family, my name is Terry or Teresia. This is about the third or fourth time I'm doing this video. I set up my camera, I did a get ready with me doing my makeup, but I don't know if I have to change the settings on that for some reason, or do it differently, I'm not sure. But in today's video I just wanted to kind of talk about my little update, New York, Germany situation, just because it's been about 3 months now that I'm here and I haven't really been too active here, so I just thought I'd let you talk to you guys about certain things that I've noticed, my impressions and experiences thus far. So in terms of me just being freer and being able to kind of figure out, just being able to be me, I have at least the opportunity or the potential to just be myself. A funny thing is, when I was in Germany, a lot of times if I would speak to somebody in English, I would have like a really strong American accent. There was one time I had like a really British accent. I'm not sure where that came from and I didn't notice it myself, but the person was British and they asked me if I was, and I was like, actually no, I'm not. But what thing that I would do is neutralize my accent so that people would be able to understand me as best as they could. So I tried to weaken my Trinbagonian accent, I suppose. But here, surprisingly, it's never been stronger when I talk to people. I mean, obviously if I was actually in Tobago, it'd be very strong, to the point where my mom was even like, wow, yeah, you do sound very like Tobago when you talk to people. And I just thought it would have been the opposite. I thought, especially actually being here, I would try to assimilate more in terms of my speech, but I just have felt so free to just be me that I don't need to. And that's the thing. It's very, obviously New York is a very, very diverse place, and a lot of people, even if they've been raised here, they were born here, the background might be say the Haitian or Irish or Italian, specifically in this New York context, or Jamaican or Trini or Puerto Rican, Dominican, Guatemalan. There's so many. Everybody kind of retains a piece of that culture and that identity, and so as much as we're all in America, people are very proud and just very thinking about where they're originally from. And so in that way, I don't ever feel like I have to lessen it or anything like that. Not that I necessarily felt that in Germany, but because it's Germany and it's Deutschland, you know what I mean? There'll be cultures and stuff popping in and out. There's a general sense of a German culture and identity, whatever that might mean. If you're, say, Turkish or West African or whatever the case is, then that sticks out differently. I don't know, just the freedom to really be that, and for that to kind of be accepted, I think is just a bit different than it is, say, here. I think in Germany, when you think of immigrants and you think of other nationalities, you think of them as guests almost, even the Turkish Gastarbeiter, so the guest workers. There's the Italian guest workers back in the 60s and stuff like that. That still, not to say lingers, but that idea of their guests in this country kind of thing. Whereas, I mean, in America, of course, there are going to be people who will think like that as well, but you can't really, because America is this melting pot, and a lot of different cultures and nationalities. Everybody came from somewhere at some point down the line, and so all of these different peoples contributed, you know what I mean, and made it what it is today. So just in that respect, I just feel I could just be me. A lot of people do tend to think that I am Dominican or that I'm, from a Spanish-speaking country. They're like, oh, you look Spanish. And that's another thing. Here, people will say Spanish for Hispanics. So, if you're from Latin America or the, Spanish-speaking Caribbean or, stuff like that. Whereas, obviously, in Europe and stuff, when you say Spanish, you are referring to someone from Spain, a European from Spain. But yes, that's just funny. So that's another thing. So a lot of people do speak Spanish around here, which is a benefit if and when you're looking for a job. Sometimes they'll ask if you speak Spanish, because there's a big market for that. A lot of people do speak Haitian Creole again. There are a lot of people who are from Ireland here, or from Italy as well, or originally Germany. And again, of course, it's not news, we know this, but it's just interesting to actually come up and meet these Italian Americans and Irish Americans. And I went to a St. Patrick's Day parade one town over, and that's the second largest St. Patrick's Day parade in New York. The other one is in Manhattan, and that's a big deal. So that was very interesting to see. And I think at the end of this video I'll just have like a compilation of random vlog bits from the past 3 months that I've been here, so just to give you guys like a visual apart from me talking about things. Yeah, and another thing that I find so interesting, and this might be a little while, but a few years ago when I was watching Law and Order SVU, a long time ago, there was a group of people they were describing, and they had a, you know, an episode basically about them, and back then I just kind of assumed that they were kind of Amish because of their style of dress and the fact they didn't really use technology that much, but they were actually Hasidic Jews, and there are a lot of them around where I live right now. There's a documentary on Netflix called One of Us, and it's very, very interesting because it's like an insight into that community and like 3 people who are trying to leave or have left, and you know, the strict rules and traditions and the codes and like the whole reason I guess for it. I did a little bit of research on the group just because it's interesting when you see them. They really do dress like their ancestors back in the, you know, 1800s. Like women, they, you know, their hair is usually cut off once they get married, and they wear wigs. They're not really allowed to show like skin. That's what I'm showing you. So they'll have like, you know, stockings and like long dresses, you know, dress very formally. The guys will have, you know, very formal wear, and they often have the peyot, which is referring to the curls. I think like in the Torah it says that you're not supposed to cut, like the men are not supposed to cut the hair on their temples or something. And there's a lot of different codes too, especially between men and women. So some, you know, married men, depends on how like, you know, seriously you take it. Some of them will not even look you in the eye when they deal with you. I had a customer one time, like I dealt with him, rung him up, he left, and then he had a question, so he came back. He was right in front of me, but he literally asked this question like this: and so when are you guys open? Okay, great, thanks a lot. And then he left. And I was like, okay. Or they wouldn't like pass things between like, you know, you and them, so they'll like tap to show you like to put the receipt down, or they'll put their money down for you to take it, kind of thing. That doesn't happen all the time, but that does happen. And in terms of like interacting with outsiders of their community, you know, they can be seemingly very rude when they talk to you, but I just think it's just the way that they're raised. Even their language, Yiddish, is so similar to German. The ones here, when they speak, so it sounds like a mixture of German, some element of Arabic, just in the way they pronounce things, and English, because they even throw in a lot of like, you know, American terms and words, English American, you know what I mean, words into it. So sometimes I can actually understand what they're talking about. You know, certain things are almost the same as in German, and I see their reaction if I, you know, happen to hear what they said, and I will respond to them as if I understood what they said. And you know, you can kind of see them like, did you just understand what we said? So that's kind of fun too. But yeah, as it relates to working here, a lot of people here do have like 2 and 3 jobs. Like that's a normal thing. Like hustle mode is on, and in Germany, or in Munich at least, that is almost unimaginable to have 2 and 3 like full-time jobs. Like no. So I think that sense of like work mode is a lot different. A lot of people do come to America to hustle, to make money, to send back to, you know, their country of origin, or just to, you know, eventually build something up for themselves. And that's why, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are, there's people who are like younger than me who do 2 full-time jobs. They'll have their morning job from like 5 to 2 or 3, and then from 5 to 10 at night, and they have their other job, and it's like, where do you find the strength? But that's to me very an amazement. And yeah, in Germany, I think you know, after you finish work, maybe you go into work at 9, you come home at 6, or whatever the case might be, and then you go out for drinks with your friends after, and I think the vibe of just, you know, leisurely living life in Munich at least seems different. Of course, here people are always out eating at restaurants and stuff like that too. But for me, the style of it just comes off in a little different way, and I guess you can't really describe Munich and where I am here in New York to each other. It's completely different things. But you do get that sense of work mode when you're here. And I guess in Munich you do get that too, because you see a lot of people, you know, commuting, and, you know, businessmen always and stuff like that. I don't really know where I'm going at this point, but just the idea of 2 and 3 jobs, I think in Germany would seem like unimaginable, in most places at least. Another quick thing, especially coming from me, as I just, wrapped up with school and all that, is the fact that, obviously here you have to pay through the nose for education, like for college education. And there's, people who will sometimes, take a semester off so that they can work, save money to be able to, continue on with the next semester, which again in Germany would be like, what? That's insane. And here people, by the time they're like 21, 22, they're almost always done with their bachelor's already and then looking on for the next thing. Whereas in, again, I have to really just resort to like Munich, at least, or like, I don't know, major German cities, I would say. Whereas people are a lot more relaxed about going to school and, getting their college degree. They might, after, high school, they might go and do a, what do you call it? What is that called? Like they're like a social year. I forgot what the term is in German right now. Something Soziales Jahr, basically, where you might go and do some charitable work, kind of figure out what you want to do after that. Or they might do work and travel, which is a big thing. They might go to Australia. It seems like everybody goes to Australia or London or, some city in the States and kind of work, gain experience, learn a language, and then after that year, figure out what they want to do. And I think in England that's a big thing too, taking a gap year. Whereas here people don't really do that. I think it's more like on to the next one. You did this, now you have to go do that. You know what I mean? Like, time is money. You have things to do, and that again is like a different twist on things as well. The whole thing about like building credit or like your credit score, which I'm really not even too clear on. Like, I'm still trying to eventually figure that out. I'm not pressed to know that now, I think, at least. It's like you have to have good credit to be able to do a lot of things. So they always say, like, in Germany it's kind of call it like auf Pump, which is like you're just living on pump, which is basically like you might get a brand new car, but you have to pay like monthly bills for that, so it's not really yours yet. Or you might have a brand new phone and you pay monthly on that. It doesn't belong to you yet. Like, you don't pay the 1,000 or how much ever your iPhone costs, or Samsung, immediately. And so I think for the majority of people in Germany, if you want to buy a new laptop, you go and you spend whatever the laptop costs. You will spend $1,200 and buy that laptop, and boom, it's yours. Whereas here people tend to do a plan, so they'll do like a monthly installment thing where they just have to pay, they might pay $30 every month for 12 months to pay off their laptop, kind of thing, or their phone or their car. As opposed to, as I said, in Germany, most people will spend the amount of money that something costs, and they'll buy that new car or they'll buy that camera. But here that's kind of a way of like building your credit, kind of showing that you're able to pay your bills every month on time. And so if you're going to apply for an apartment or for, I don't know, like a job or something, sometimes they will check your credit score to be sure that you are a sound person, like you're capable of meeting these monthly payments, these requirements. So that's just another thing that you kind of would have to get used to, I suppose. But yes, apart from those major points, I really do enjoy it here. Most people really just like a lot more like open, relaxed, and I think I obviously knew that coming. Everybody knows about, Americans are very open, might be superficial, but just engage in small talk. And I think it's a lot easier to find Anschluss, as they say in Germany, which is like making connections, making friends and stuff like that, which I feel like in Munich is definitely a lot more tricky typically. And yeah, so I just think like it's a lot easier to kind of find thing here. People are a bit more open to like invite you to things, whereas in Germany I think sometimes it can feel like you have to warm up, meet the person, build that kind of mutual trust, and then whereas here I think it is kind of easier to make connections here and there. And I don't know, there are always pros and cons to things. And again too, speaking of being open, I think men here tend to be a lot more open, or just more straightforward as it relates to making a move on you, even if it's like in the workplace or wherever. They'll be kind of straightforward, like, are you single, are you seeing somebody, you're very beautiful, or I like you or something. Whereas in Germany that Like somebody could like you on the again, it depends on the person, but typically people wouldn't really be so like hardcore and just like direct to just tell you they like you and ask you out and be like, oh, you're beautiful and this, that, the other. Again, it depends on who it is, but typically, generally speaking, it's no, that won't happen. Again, you'd have to build a trust, wait a little period and stuff like that, and then, you know, such a thing could perhaps happen. And usually in Germany that happens to like mutual friends, or you know, you went to school together, you worked together, and you know, again, over time you kind of realize that there's mutual interest, as opposed to here where it's like somebody might see you and just be like, oh damn, like you're nice, you know, like what's your number, you know. That's again, very interesting. Some of you've seen movies, but yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. I mean, again, I think I'll just add the clips to the end of this. This video is gonna be long as hell, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. I have a video with Haley that I have to edit like now that I would want to post on Saturday, I think. It's a My Life in Munich video. We went to the Eibsee with Mike, her boyfriend, took some pictures and I interviewed her, and yeah, it was a nice afternoon. That was all the way in December, so I'd kind of like to get that video on the road, you know what I'm saying? It's almost June, that's crazy. Yeah, but I hope you guys have a great day, evening, night, wherever it is you are in the world. Again, as I said, I have a lot of videos coming. I bought a planner and a schedule thingy, so I'm gonna really try to stick to that as much as I can, because in 1 month I really do want to say, like, you know what, I gave it my best in June. Yeah, in June. And yeah, I kind of am tired of being a person who says I'm going to do this and do that and I don't really do anything. It's not very helpful to people who believe in me and support me, and it's not helpful to myself in the long term, because time flies and before you blink it's like, shit, I should have used my time more wisely. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna get up and do that. I hope you guys have a great day, evening, night, wherever it is you are in the world, and I will see you in my next video.
Private school, that's my princess. Money is the motive, that's my rule. Sin man turned dunce off.